Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Introspect with me, Sharon Mwangi. If you're new here, karibu sana, feel at home. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. Yeah, so let's get straight into today's video. If you guys can see, I'm standing. Yeah, I usually record when I'm seated, but today my tripod has decided to play gymnastics with me. Na imekata kusimama vizuri, so we're gonna work with what we have. So please ignore my bed huko nyuma. Yeah, so today we're gonna do this video standing, which is not bad anyway. So yeah, let's start with the first two questions of the day. That is, how have I been? How am I doing? And also what I'm grateful for. I have been good. First of all, can I hear some commotion for the hair? Are you guys seeing this? Guy. It's giving ethereal beauty. You know, it's giving a goddess. It's giving, you are my African queen. Actually, this has been the highlight of my week. I won't lie, not gonna lie. This is the highlight of my week. Yeah, and what am I grateful for? What am I grateful for? I'm grateful for my friends. There are some friends of mine who I have been talking to this week, and also one of them that I met just recently. And it's really nice. I really enjoy their company. I really enjoyed their company. Do you have those friends who usually, when you meet, you just feel like you're refreshed and rejuvenated? Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. I'm very grateful and thankful for my friends. So even before we get into today's discussion, I want to announce something. So next month, which is the month of May, is Mental Health Month. And on this channel, we're just here to talk about mental health. And can you imagine you have a whole month to talk about that? Yeah. So you have a whole month that we're going to be discussing and looking at all things mental health. And I'm really, really excited because the team and I are planning something for you guys. So please stay tuned. If you're not following us on our Instagram platform, please do. That is introspect_KE. And if you have any questions or any queries or any dilemmas, as far as mental health is concerned, please feel free to ask or to leave a comment on the comment section up YouTube, or unaweza to DM pia pale Instagram, or you can also DM me personally on my personal Instagram account, that is mwangi.sharon, or also on TikTok, mwangi.sharon, and my team and I will do the best to respond to them. Yeah, and I'm really excited and looking forward to that. Yeah, so I think with that, now we can get into today's discussion. So if you're just joining us and you're new here, we've been doing a mini series on the fathers of psychology, the founding fathers of psychology. What did they have to say about psychology, about, you know, mental health? And all of that, we've been looking at their lives, what can we learn from them, and also the concepts and the theories that they came up with. And today we're going to look at another one. His name is William Glasser. Yeah, William Glasser. And I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. So he came up with a theory called the choice theory. And I really love this theory because while I was learning it, I felt like this is one of the theories that inakufanya to grow up. Because basically the essence of his theory was to say how we are in control of our choices. Not all the time, but majority of the time we have control over the choices that we make, and we also have control of our behavior. And I think that's good because I think as human beings, a lot of times we want to blame others for our actions, blame others for our reactions, which is not good, and it's not cool, and it's not right. So under the choice theory, he came up with some 10 axioms. Yeah, I don't even know how to explain that, but he came up with like 10 axioms, or like 10 fire points, you know, 10 cool points about choices and behavior, and our behavior as human beings. And I want us to look at them. There are 10 of them, but we don't have time for 10. We don't have time for 10. I think we'll just look at like 3 or 4 of them. And again, I am going to be referring to some reference notes here. Actually, imagine these are my notes from campus. I'm such a keeper, guys. Oh my God. Imagine I still have my notes from campus. Well, the book is literally falling apart, but it's good, it's cool, it's cool. So I'm going to be referring to some of the notes that I wrote like 4 years ago. So the first one is, the only person whose behavior we can control are our own. The only persons whose behavior we can control are our own behaviors. Well, I think this can go both ways. There are those of us who feel the need to control other people's behavior. Like we feel like we are responsible for other people's reactions. We are responsible for how other people choose to treat us or to react or to behave, you know? Like, for example, wanadada, wanawake. What is this about us hoping that we can change a man? Don't you know that you only have control over your own behavior? If someone wants to change, they're going to change for themselves, not because, you know, you've told them to change, but because they have made, you know, a decision for themselves that they want to change. And it also goes for guys as well. If your girl does not want to change, she's not gonna change. Okay, so I don't know what's up with us thinking that we have control over other people's behaviors, because we do not. And if there is any way people find a way to control people's reactions, I think that's low-key kind of manipulative. You know, if you're looking for ways to be able to control how someone behaves or reacts, that's low-key kind of manipulative. So it is for you to understand that you do not have control over other people's behaviors and reactions, or even the choices that they make, but you only have control over your own behavior, your own choices, and your own reactions. And the other category of people is those who feel the need to blame others for their own reactions. Like you say things like, oh, Mimi, I have anger issues because I was brought up like this and like this. Oh, me, I cannot change because of 1, 2, 3. Oh, I did this because you said this. Oh, I slapped him because he said this. Oh, I did. Like you do not take accountability of your own actions and your own choices because you find a way to pin it on others or to blame others or to blame your situation. But always remember, I told you this theory is the one that makes you feel like you have to grow up. You need to collect yourself and grow up. Yeah, so like in the sweetest and kindest way, I think it is very helpful if we look back and say like, yeah, sure, this and this and this happened. Sure, this person responded to me like this. However, I have control over my behavior. I have control over my choices. I have control over my reactions. So please, number one, I don't think it is healthy if you keep on trying to change other people's behaviors or control their behaviors because you are only in control of yourself. And number two, stop the blame game. Stop blaming people and situations for your reactions and your choices. I mean, like, are there difficult situations that shape who we are? Yes. And we're going to look at that because that's a different thing. Are there situations that shape us and who we are? Yes. But do we have the ability to change and act better despite our dysfunctional pasts or our dysfunctional present? Yes, we can. So it is up to you to make a choice, whether you want to make healthy decisions, whether you want to make healthy choices, or you just want to keep on pinning and blaming other people and other situations for your own choices and your own behavior and your own reactions. Number two, all long-lasting psychological problems are relationship problems. All long-lasting psychological problems are relationship problems. So personally for me, I don't want to say all problems, but I'd say most problems stem from relationship problems. And by relationship, I do not mean like just romantic relationships like between you and your partner, your romantic partner, but relationships all around. I think one of the things that most therapists can tell you is people who go for therapy, a lot of times they want to seek clarity or help in areas around relationships, like mending relationships, rebuilding relationships, getting over relationships, just something to do with relationships. And that could be parent relationships, children relationships, sibling relationships, romantic relationships, friendships, work-related relationships, relationships with themselves, or a relationship with God or whatever superior being they believe in. You know, so a lot of problems stem from relationship problems. And I think even in this generation, we are really vocal about talking about childhood wounds and childhood trauma. And you'll realize a lot of these childhood wounds and childhood trauma come from a point of unhealthy relationships with parents or with siblings or with relatives or with self or with, just with others. So is it true that most relationships affect who we are and the choices and how we choose to behave? Yes, it is very true. For example, if you grew up in an abusive home, most likely your behavior is not going to be the same as one who grew up in a very safe, non-abusive home, because it's just a thing of how our minds work, that especially our early childhood years, they really shape who we are. But does that mean we should hold on and cling on to, this is how things have been for me, so this is who I'm going to be forever and ever and ever? No. And the essence and the beauty about talking about mental health and even going for therapy is for you to identify, like, yeah, this pattern and this particular behavior and the way I see the world is not healthy. It's not healthy. Yeah, sure, I did not come from a healthy background, or I have not had a healthy upbringing and all of that, but I want to live a healthy life. And it is possible. It is very possible. You may have had relationships that have bruised you. You may have had relationships, friendships, partnerships that went wrong and they went rogue, but there is still hope. And through therapy, you can be able to establish and heal. First of all, heal yourself from those wounds, like from the traumas, address those issues, and now begin to build and live a life that is healthy. You don't have to always hang on to the broken relationship. You don't have to always hang on to the dysfunctional relationship. You can make a better choice. So the third one, and this is quite a long one, but I think it's very, very important. What happened in the past has everything to do with what we are today, but we can only satisfy our basic needs right now and plan to continue satisfying them in the future. So let's break that down, okay? The first part, what happened in the past has everything to do with what we are today. This is what I was talking about. Are there situations in life that have happened that shape who we are? Yes. A lot of who we are is based on experience and the things that we have had to go through as human beings. A collective or a collection of all our experiences is what shapes who we are as human beings today. And our past can actually shape who we are today. How you grew up, how you were brought up, how you were talked to, how the kind of relationships that you had with your parents, with your siblings, with your family, your experience with school, your experience with life, all of that can affect who you are today. And we're not negating that. It is very true. If you came from an abusive home, there is a way most likely you're going to react, and there's a way that is going to shape who you are today. If you had a healthy family and you were brought up in a healthy background, you had a healthy relationship with yourself growing up, you had a relationship with friends and relatives and all of that, there's a way that is going to influence who you are today. And that is very true. And there's the second part, which says, but we can only satisfy our basic needs right now and plan to continue satisfying them in the future. Basically, what that means is, yeah, sure, we've come from a past, right? We all have that weird past, or that difficult past, right? But we can only work with what we have today. It is impossible for us to go back in time and try and change things. It's impossible and very difficult for us to go back in time to try and mend what was broken. But what can we do now? What can we do now? If it means that I never got the chance to build my self-esteem when I was young, because probably I didn't grow up in a family that was very affirming and loving and present, what can I do now to start building on my self-esteem? And what can I plan to do in the future to make that better? So a lot of times, this is where the choice theory comes in, where a lot of times you want to blame where we came from and what happened in the past. And we're not negating that your past has actually made a significant impact on who you are today. But at the end of the day, what are you going to do today to make sure you do not relive the past? What are you going to do today to make sure whatever dysfunction you went through in your past is not what is going to determine who you're going to be today and even tomorrow? Because a lot of times what happens is if you fail to deal with that past, you will end up recreating that pattern. And you will become the very, very same person you do not want to be. You've been running away from, you will recreate that same person. So through therapy, and that's why I'm a huge advocate for therapy, not just because I'm a therapist. Even if I was not a therapist, I'm not trying to plug myself here, okay? Yeah, but even if I was not a therapist, I think it would have been one of my like long life commitment and one of my priorities to go for therapy, because therapy is the best place where you can be able to unlearn, to unpack all those, past experiences, and to for you, and your therapist can help you to understand how has that impacted who you are today, and what can you do in the future to make sure that you're a healthier, better human being. Actually recently I was watching a video on TikTok, and it was of a lady who was like on a podcast session with other young ladies, and these young ladies were trying to justify their actions of why they live a reckless life, why they are doing the whole, I have a mobabas kind of situation going on. And they kept on saying, oh, I grew up in a very abusive home, I grew up in a toxic home, I never had affirmation and all of that, and these men kind of give us that affirmation and that love that we so desired from our fathers, and etc etc etc. And I do agree that if you grew up with an absent father, most likely you're struggling with those feelings of, looking for a father, in every other person, or especially in the romantic setup. Yeah, for most people, not all, but for most people. However, this now lady who was on the podcast said, I also have the same experience. My father was absent. I've had an absent dad. He was never present. Actually, for the short time he was present, he was very abusive to the mom and all of that. But she did not use that as a way to justify or as a means for her to start living like a horrible life. What she did, she said that she decided to get her life together. She worked hard in school, made sure she went to campus, she studied psychology, she studied counseling, and to become a therapist, which she successfully did. And she's now a very, very successful, psychologist and therapist, and she was able to work on herself. And that just goes to show that in as much as you might have had a really tough past, what are you willing to do about it today to make sure that you are not replaying the same past, and you're also not using it as an excuse for the unhealthy, toxic behaviors probably you found yourself in. And that brings me to the introspection question for the day, and that is, what choices have I made or am I making, or what behaviors do I have, or habits that I have, that I am blaming other situations, or I'm attributing it to a particular thing or a particular person? And what can I do today to make sure I break away from that and start having more healthy habits and healthier choices, and just a healthier outlook on life? Yeah, so that is it for today. Thank you so much for sticking through it. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and please let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. And do not forget to stay tuned, because May is coming, and we said it's Mental Health Month, and it's going to be an amazing experience and an amazing month. So yeah, please subscribe, like, share, comment, especially if you have not subscribed and you're watching. Do you know how much people pay for conferences to be told these things that you're getting for free here? Please, please, please make the right choices. Make the right choice. And please subscribe. All right, that's it for today. See you in the next video. Bye.